Greetings, my brothers and sisters. How you all doing out there? Wow, it's been a long time since I've done anything live, and it's been a little while since I've even uploaded any pictures, any videos. We've mostly been giving you shorts, and we're so happy that you're enjoying the shorts and we respect your comments, your feedback, and so on, your likes and your subscriptions. And yeah, talking to subscriptions, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. On the road to 1,000k, on the road to 1,000k, 100, yeah, on the road to 1,000k, 1,000 subscribers. I'm hoping to get there by the end of the year, maybe even possibly before the end of the year. So we want you to subscribe to the channel, share it, spread the word about the content we give you. And as I said, I'm not doing this to entice you all, but when we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to give away free prizes. Yeah, free prizes. So look out for that. As soon as we get to 1,000, we're going to come in and do a stream, and we're going to give away, free prizes. I'm not going to say what it is yet, and you just have to wait and see what it is. We're here today, brother and sister, to talk about Michael Jackson. Arguably the greatest entertainer of all time. Today, the 29th of August. He would have been 65. 65 is a landmark age. It's really an OAP's age. 65 years of age. When you get to that age, especially as a man, you can retire from work. But it's a landmark age. And Michael Jackson, had he lived, he passed away when he was 50, and that was 50. So that was it'd be 15 years next year. Yeah, so he was nearly 51 when he passed away. So he actually passed away at 50, and so we're here to pay a little homage to him. It's not going to be like a documentary. I've done many documentaries on the radio. For those of you who know and used to listen to my radio shows on SLR in London, I've done a couple of documentaries about Michael Jackson around the time when he passed away back in 2009. And funny enough, I was looking for the documentary which I saved on an MP4 player, but I can't find it. I think it might have been rewritten, or maybe I recorded over it. But anyway, not to worry. We could do many more documentaries. There's no problem. We've got a lot of information up here, and so on. We've got the music, so we can always do something and then post it back up. And then for those of you to hear, maybe a new alternative and a different alternative from the documentary we did all those years ago when he just passed away. We're going to start off with my first memory of Michael Jackson. Because I missed the Thriller era. I was very young around the Thriller era. I'm going to zip some drink as well. Hope you don't mind. Some black currant. Yeah. So I was when Thriller was to this day is the biggest selling album of all time. Yeah. And it sold at one stage, it held a record for shifting 50 million units. So the first album, I think, in history to shift 50 million units, 50 million copies around the world. I think in America alone, it shifted something like 30 million copies, which is a record. And around the world, it was 50. But I looked about 6 months ago, and it got to 90 million. So about 6 months ago, it got to 90 million, copies sold worldwide. Thriller. Recorded in 1982, and that was the year I moved to my address where I grew up in 1982. So it's such a coincidence. But my first memory of Michael Jackson was when I was it was very early 80s, and my grandfather, because I grew up with my grandfather and my grandmother and my father, because my mother wasn't well enough to look after me, and so my grandfather had a nice car. At that time, he had a Cortina. And at the time, Cortinas were very popular. You're talking late 70s, early 80s. And so one morning, he took me to work. And he took me to school. And I heard Billie Jean. I heard Billie Jean for the first time. I never heard this song before. But I remember he had it on, I think it was Capital Radio at that time. And Billie Jean was playing. And I thought, But I never thought anything of it. I just thought it was just a song. Then I kept hearing the same song over and over. Then eventually I heard Thriller, which is the title track of the album. Thriller, Thriller now. Yeah. And then I was there and Beat It. But I never knew who Michael Jackson was. As I said, at the time, I would have been probably 4 or 5 around that age, maybe 6. So yeah, about 4, 5, 6. And then it wasn't some years later, I heard some different songs of Michael Jackson now. Like I heard ABC. Well, ABC did when he was a kid with his brothers, the Jackson Five, back in the 70s, early 70s. And then I was hearing songs like "The Love You Save," and you know, I never can say goodbye now. That song. Yeah, I was hearing those songs, and I thought to myself, "Wow, who's this?" And then it started to come together to me that it's the same guy. And then I think one of my family members, it was my cousin, because my cousin used to collect Michael Jackson albums. So my cousin had said to me, "Oh, that's the same person you're hearing, the Billie Jean, Thriller, Beat It, all these songs. That's actually the same guy, but it was when he was very young. Yeah, he sang it when he was like he was like in his pre-teens or early teens when he sung those songs." And so it started to filter down to me and to make sense to me that, this guy must be unique, because he started singing when he was a kid, and then even when he grew up, and then even he had different hair. His hair was like permed, and then he's very intriguing to me. The only other intriguing artist to me at that time was Bob Marley, because Bob Marley, when he first started, for those of you who know the Bob Marley story, he started as a Christian, and then he went away to America because his mother was living in America, and he came back. And to cut a long story short, he converted to Rastafari. And then when he converted to Rastafari, he started to grow the locks. And then, of course, the songs became, he was singing a lot of love songs before, then the songs became social commentary songs. And then his image changed, and the way he dressed changed and everything. And it was, so I was always fascinated with Bob Marley as well. But Michael Jackson was the next one. I think I put them on the same level, and then sometime later on, I remember at school, they were singing these songs at school, and they were doing like the dance, the moonwalk. They were doing the moonwalk and so on, and the shuffle, all the Michael Jackson dance, repertoires. They were carrying out by some of my school friends. I didn't do it because I was young. I didn't know what was going on, but a lot of that, especially the older kids, were doing it. The kids were like 3 or 4 years older than me, older than my age group. They were doing all the Michael Jackson. I don't remember seeing the Ryan Gloves, but I remember seeing people with Jerichos, because I even had it in my family, my cousins. I had a cousin up in Nottingham. His name is Bernard, and I remember he had his hair like Michael Jackson. It was all permed, and they came down to see us. They came down from Nottingham down to London to see us. And then I remember Bernard had this wetlock, he had this Jericho. And I thought, wow. And then I remember sort of linking it with Michael Jackson, saying that he's got the same set of hair as Michael Jackson. This was about maybe 85, 86. And then I went to Jamaica in 87, came back. Then when I came back from Jamaica in 87, I came across the cousins. I never knew that they existed before, because I never seen them when I was very, very young. I started seeing this cousin of mine when I was 9. After I came out, I actually thought we met out in Jamaica, and I never knew that he lived over here. And then so after we came out from Jamaica in 87, we started going to the houses, and then eventually I'll sleep over there and so on. And then there was 3 of them. There was a big one, his name was Wayne. There was one in the middle called Nisha, the girl, and the other boy, AG, was the youngest one. And then they were Michael Jackson fanatics. They loved and that was around the time when he had the album called Bad. So that was the album after Thriller. So this was maybe 88, around 88, 89, around that time. And then you went to the house, they had everything. They had Michael Jackson lunchbox, they had Michael Jackson flask, they had Michael Jackson sticker book, they had books, they had all these memorabilia, merchandise, they had T-shirts with him on, they had pictures as well as the album. They were I never seen anything like it. They were crazy for Michael Jackson. And so I asked him if I could borrow the record, because I went all over London looking for the record, and I remember my dad gave me £5. I said, Daddy, I want the Michael Jackson album, and he gave me £5. I want the album Bad. I was about 10 at the time, so he gave me £5, and then I went to about 4 or 5 record shops, and every one of the record shops I went to, I couldn't afford to buy the record. I couldn't afford to buy the Bad album because it was $6.50. And I only had those £5 on me. And I remember one of the time I said to one of the guys, please let me off. Please let me have the record. I've only got £5. And he said, it's 6 foot. Please, I beg you. And he couldn't do it. He wanted to do it, but he would get in trouble by his boss because he wasn't the one who owned the shop. He's running the shop, but his boss was the guy overseeing him. And if he sold me that record and he lost 150, if the boss finds out, he gets sacked. So he couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. As a zip. And so there you have it. And that's my first memories of Michael Jackson. The first sort of 5 years of me knowing who he was, or kind of like getting acquainted with his music. And as I said, my grandfather was at the radio on Capital Radio, and Billie Jean come on, you see. And then I never saw the Motown 25 show. I never saw that. It was called Yesterday, Today, and Forever. That happened when I would have been about 5 at the time. So I was a bit young. That was in 83. And I never saw it until some years afterwards. That's when I started seeing it, years afterwards. And then when my grandfather, and he got married to this woman from Jamaica, she was much younger than him. And so when she came over here, she bought cable. So we had cable TV. And then I was able to catch up, and I was able to watch the story about Michael Jackson, how he changed the MTV culture, how he became, a groundbreaker and a trailblazer in the sense of him being the first black artist to appear on MTV and to break down the barriers for having, black performers and black entertainers, appear on MTV. But before that, it was white people, just white artists, white acts. And then he was the first black artist to go in there and have his videos, showing on there, and he broke down a barrier. And so after that night, he opened the door for many other black acts. So a lot of black artists came after him, and not long after that, there was a hip hop movement. So you had people like the Run DMC, Public Enemy, and many others who come on there as a result of Michael Jackson breaking down a barrier for black entertainers. They would go there and perform their songs, and they will get recorded, and people were able to see that, this is a new movement now. So the hip hop movement now was taking off. So when Michael Jackson appeared on MTV, Billie Jean, 83, then he had Bad. Bad came after this, but he had Beat It, Billie Jean, Thriller. That was 83. And so by about 84, 85, then the hip hop was starting to take off. It was starting to come, because it started really in the 73. Then it became commercial in 79. And by 83, 84, 85, around that time period, it became more and more commercial. And then what was happening is a lot of the white community in America, they were buying it. And very soon, not long after that, it became the most sold genre in American history. It started to overtake rock. So we had people like Elvis Presley who were selling a lot of records, in America. Obviously, Elvis Presley is one of their famous sons, and rock music. And then you had people like the Beatles who were selling high in America. But when Michael Jackson came along, he eclipsed all that. And he pushed them down to second and third place, and he took the top spot. You see, and it was such an amazing maneuver, the vision of Michael. And then you've got to say Quincy Jones, because Quincy Jones was the guy who produced the first album. His first solo album was Off the Wall, my favorite album of all time, Off the Wall. And then the second album he did, that was in 79. The second album he did in 82. As I said, I'm really happy that he did it in 82, because 82 was the same year I moved from the house I was born into the house I grew up in. So in 82, when I was about 4 in 82. We moved from just around the corner at Barronet Road to the other house in Vicarage Road, and it was 82. And the album came out August, and we moved in October. So when we moved, it was just 2 months after Thriller came out. It was extraordinary. But but the legacy Michael Jackson leaves is a fantastic one. I want to say this, that in the early days when Michael Jackson was performing with his brothers, because he had the Jackson 5, it was a Jackson 5. Then when Jermaine left the group, it became known as Jacksons. And the Jackson 5, the thing was that a lot of black acts in America, starting from the 40s, So you had people like Louis Armstrong back in the 40s, Nat King Cole, and Ella Fitzgerald, and then you had people like Sam Cooke, Otis Redding, through to the 50s and the 60s. They had to perform on what was called a Chitlin circuit. A Chitlin circuit is a place where you perform, where a lot of black performers perform, and it kind of molds them into great performers. And a lot of black performers, when they perform in the Chitlin circuit, they received a lot of racism, unfortunately. And those guys I mentioned to you before, people like Sam Cooke and those guys, they were really reduced to severe racism. And then Michael Jackson and the Jackson Five, his brothers, they're called the Jacksons then. It wasn't Michael Jackson, it was Jacksons, yeah? When they all performed together, the Jackson Five, so you're talking 60s. So when Michael was a very, very young, he would have been less than 10 at that time. When they performed the Chitlin circuit in America, they received a lot of racism. Yeah, they received a lot of, not many people speak about this. And I was reading one of the books. The book is over there somewhere in my cupboard. And I was reading about some of the things that was happened to them. There were refused entry in certain performance, certain venues. They were not allowed to go in, and they had to eat separately from the white performers. So you had the white performers over there, they had the Jackson Five over here, the black performers over this side, then the white performers over that side. And there was even a time when they weren't even allowed to speak to each other. It was really, really horrendous. It was really, really horrendous, and so that stood them in good stead. They started to record very early out. Their father Joe, a lot of us have heard about the father Joe and of his disciplinary acts, hitting the boys. And his relationship with Michael Jackson was a stormy one. Some say that he never got on with Michael Jackson. Some say that he abused Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's common record of saying that he used to really hit him hard, but he forgave him because he said that it forgives him. My take on it is that I think even though it was hard, because for those of us, because I come from a Caribbean background, for those of us black people, we come from either Caribbean background or natural African background or Afro-Caribbean background like me, we used to get hit a lot. I used to get hit a lot. When I done something wrong, I used to get hit a lot. And it hasn't made me a bad person. I think Michael Jackson, the discipline that Joe Jackson instilled in the boys, the Jackson boys, the Jackson brothers, I don't know if it's severity of the beatings, because I wasn't there. I can only go by what I've read and what I've been told. But it seems like it was for their own good, because it was really rough in America. And when they grew up in Michael Jackson was born in, of course, the 29th of August, 1958 in Gary, Indiana. It was an industrial city and so on. And the boys, it was a little home, but it was 10 boys. I think it was, how many boys was it? It was 9 children. Rebbe, I think it was 3 girls and 9 boys. And plus Joe and Catherine, so that was 11. She had 11 people in one household. It wasn't easy, to grow up, and so I had to share beds. And so Joe Jackson was a musician himself. He was a singer. And he never got to the same level as Michael, but he was or the brothers, the Jackson brothers. But he tried. He was in a jazz band, and he tried his hand at a few things, and he knew a few people. And as I was going to say to you before, that I think I lost my train of thought. I was going to say, when they were home, because he wanted the best for the boys. So I think when he disciplined them, it was for their own good. There was nothing malicious in the beatings. There was nothing malicious in the beatings at all. It was for their own good. And he sort of stood them, as I said, he stood them in good stead. And it helped them to actually I have chat. Just a minute, brothers and sisters, just checking something. Just a minute. Okay. Okay, yeah, no, no, sorry, yeah, just checking something. Yeah, okay. Yes, brothers and sisters. So here we are now. We're just carrying on. Yeah. So as I was saying to you before, at the end of the day, the disciplining from Joe Jackson to the Jackson Boys was very very helpful, and it helped them to actually make a name for themselves in the music business. Because it was really hard in America. You're black, and where they came from was a rough part. It was rough. It wasn't easy. Get Gary in Indiana wasn't easy at all. So Joe had to ensure that his boys were disciplined, and you see what's got them: superstardom, inducted into the Music Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Soul Hall of Fame, countless rewards. Michael Jackson has a record for I think 9 Grammys in one night. Nobody's ever achieved that before. The best-selling album of all time, the greatest entertainer of all time, amongst the best groups of all time. Because not only is Michael Jackson inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Jackson Five, so him as well as him and with his brothers have also been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Soul Music Hall of Fame and the Music Hall of Fame. And I mean, you can't top that. That is just immense achievement, great achievement. You see. And so I hope I haven't missed anything. But what I might do, because I think that the screen is jumpy a bit, it's a bit coming in and out. So if there's an issue with you watching it, what I'll do, sometime down the line, I'll re-record. I'll do another recording of this video. Maybe not the exact same thing, but I'll sum it up and make it a shorter video, and then post it up on here for you to see it. And I'll be able to put some pictures and some bits and pieces around it, so you can see what. So we can put some pictures to what we're saying in terms of Michael Jackson, the Michael Jackson story. Excuse me, but it's going in and out a bit too much. So anyway, we're going to carry on. And so so I spoke about my first memories. I spoke about the albums. Yeah, and so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to speak about, Michael Jackson we all know he was a perfectionist, and so. He says that, I don't know if you remember that Bashir interview many years ago, about 20 years ago now. Can't believe it's so long. They did an interview with Martin Bashir, and then I remember watching that over and over again. I must have watched that video at least 100 times over. And Martin Bashir asked Michael Jackson, "How do you write a song?" Michael Jackson says, "You've got to let the song come to you. You don't write the song." And I'm a songwriter myself. I've written a few songs. Nothing like Michael Jackson, but I've written some decent songs. And it's true what he says. I've realized that if you go to write a song, it can run away from you. And sometimes if you go to write a song, it doesn't quite make sense. It's like you're rushing it. You're not supposed to rush things like that. You're supposed to let it happen naturally. So I've noticed that even the other day, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was sitting here on my bed, and then a song just came to me, and I got the melody to the song, and it just came, and within, I think even less than 10 minutes, I wrote the song. When I've tried to write songs before, it's taken me hours, and I don't get nowhere. But when a song comes to you, it's there, and it's so right. It's a magic formula, and it's the same thing with dancing. When you dance, you've got to feel. Bob Marley said the same thing. It's not about when you're making music as well. You don't just think about it. You've got to feel the music. And then, according to how you feel the music, that's how the music turns out, and that's how the music comes out. It's the same thing with writing the song, writing the melody of the song, singing the song, and performing the song, and of course, dancing to the song. So Michael Jackson said the same thing like how you write the song, when you have to let the music come to you, and you have to feel it, not think about it, and not force it. It's the same thing with the dancing. And it's a magical thing to have, to actually listen to. And especially when you've done it for yourself, and it works for you as well, you see. And so that goes to show what a perfectionist he is, and just how much of an innovator he is. Because when you're innovating, you're creating, but you're creating from the highest stratosphere possible. It's almost like you're creating out of the Earth, if you like. You're in another universe almost. But it's no wonder why his songs are so memorable. I never get tired of hearing these songs. There's not many artists I can listen to forever and ever and ever. Him and Bob Marley are two of the main ones. Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Jimmy Cliff, Dennis Brown, and there's a few others. Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, a lot of the greats. That is just such a great thing to have that. He's 65. See, I don't know. I'm not sure what you've been doing now at 65. I don't think he'll still been performing. Because, when he said that, when he was doing these rehearsals for This Is It, he said, this is the final curtain call. This is it. This will be it. No more. So my mind tells me that he probably would have retired, but he would have probably just gone around and just visit the world and just become like an ambassador for music. And I think he'll put out the occasional album. I think he's still been making music, because before he passed away, he was making a lot of music. He wrote a lot of songs. I heard that he wrote hundreds of songs before he passed away. A lot of them are in the pipeline, but they weren't released. He recorded some songs as well, but they weren't released. They're just there in the pipeline. So I don't know if one of his family, if his estate or his family will get it released. I don't know. If they fall in hard times, it could be a possibility that they release some of his unrecorded songs. And they won't fall in hard times because they're multi-rich, the Jacksons. But it could be that maybe the fans demand they want to hear the new songs or the unreleased songs of Michael Jackson. And it could be that there's pressure put onto the family and to his estate to actually get some, and even not all the songs, some of the songs. Because if he's written hundreds of songs, suppose he's written, 200 songs. That's about 20 albums. So 10 songs in an album, that's about 20 songs. 20 albums, sorry. Yeah, so that could be 20 albums, that's a lot. Some artists don't even put out that in a lifetime, in a whole career. But he could have 20 albums worth of songs. And even if he's to pull out a quarter of that, say he puts out 5 albums, or 6, 7 albums, it's still going to go a long way, and that will make a lot of money. But I don't know, his estate, I'm hearing that his estate is in control of some of the things, and some other things are controlled by the family. So, I've tried to do a bit of research, and I'm getting that sort of feedback that his estate owns some things. I know that his estate are the ones in charge of the social media. So his Twitter account and his Facebook account and his YouTube account and TikTok and all of these things is owned by the estate, or the estate runs that. And certain imageries like pictures and stuff, artwork, they own that. But I think the music side, like in terms of the intellectual property, the albums, that is looked after by the family. And I'm hearing that it's Jermaine Jackson in charge of most of it. So we've got to wait and see what happens down the line. I want to go to the musical next year. I wanted to go to the one I had a year or two ago, but I wasn't able to go because I was at Wall. But I'd like to go to the one, having one next year, and I would like to go to that one. And maybe try to interview some people and then get it onto this channel here. And we're coming to half an hour. So nice. We're coming to half an hour, and I said I'll go up to about 45 minutes and talk about Michael Jackson. And as I said, down the line, I'm going to do another Michael Jackson video. This time, I'm going to speak a bit more about probably some of the music and stuff, and then put some pictures relating to what we're talking about. This is just a live stream, and thank you for your interaction. A couple of people have been watching, but you've not stayed. But unfortunately, there's an issue with the signal, and so I do apologize. And we're looking to get better. We're still a young channel. We're still growing. I've been around since 2010, but I've not really used this until like the last 5 years. I've only started using it last 5 years. So we've been on since 2010, and 2010 we've been on. And I've only really started using it since 2018. So the first 8 years, it was non-existent. Then the last 5 years, I started using it a bit more. So hopefully we can put some more pictures, some more posts, some more videos, and do some more lives and some more shorts. And this is our 200th video exactly. So welcome, to the 200 Club. So congratulations, and thank you as I said before, for your subscriptions, for your likes, for your comments, for your shares. We appreciate it so much. Keep tuned to Chris B and Motep. There's a lot more to come your way. And we do apologize that sometimes we put some things up and we say we're going to go live. We don't go, we cancel it. But when you're working and when you're up and down, and sometimes when you've got a situation with your, health wise, sometimes I get, because I got type 2, so I get very tired sometimes. So these things I'm going to look into. But we're always going to be here for you. Don't worry about anything. As I said, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And don't forget to like the videos, because it helps with the algorithms and face of YouTube. They help to push our videos out to wider audiences. And I think what we do is important, it's essential, and we give a lot of information which is valuable. And so, Michael Jackson loved his mother so much. Catherine, she's still alive, God bless her. And Michael Jackson really loved his mother. And if you notice, when he did a lot of his live tours, she was normally at the front. I've got a lot of videos here with him touring when he's, in these world-shattering world record concerts around the world. And she's there at the front dancing and smiling, and she's meant to be Jehovah's Witnesses, but she loves Mike. Of course, it's her son, and she loves Michael. Michael loved her. I don't think him and his father had the same sort of relationship, but I think Michael loved his father. I think he definitely loved his father. And I think his father loved him, but there was a fractured relationship there because of the beatings and so-called abuse that Michael received from his father when he was a kid growing up. You see, and then there you have it. His relationship with the other brothers are very good. He was very close with Jermaine. He's very close with Tito, with Jackie, all of them, Randy, and all of them. He was close with all of them. Close with his sisters, with Janet, with Rebby. I think there's another sister. Anyway, and. His fans, his fans are very close. He loves his fans so much. I love you. He always says that, and he great artist. The day when he passed away, I was speechless. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to think and feel, because he's one of my all-time ultimate favorite artists, if not my favorite artist in terms of performance. I've got other artists who are my favorite singers, but he's my ultimate performer. And when he passed away, I just didn't know what to do with myself, And there was even a time when, say, a couple of weeks after he passed away, I'll go somewhere and pray and ask God to please bring him back. When he first passed away, the first sort of 6 months of him passing away, the first 6 months of him passing away, I go somewhere and put my hands together and pray and ask God to see if he could please resurrect Michael. Please bring Michael back. Please tell us that it's not so, that he's passed away. And I was doing it quite a lot. And there was even a time when I thought it was going to happen. And I heard somebody come on the TV and was saying that Michael Jackson isn't actually dead. He's still alive. And I thought, it looks like God heard my prayer. But it didn't go on for long. And then after a while, this person, somebody came and crushed it and said, it's a lot of rubbish. He said, it's not true. He's passed away. But I really wish it happened. And I'm even hearing sometimes nowadays, even people are saying, we saw him. There's a guy on Facebook and YouTube saying that, I saw him somewhere down the road. It's him. It's definitely him. And they showed a picture. This guy showed an actual picture and looked just like Michael. So I don't know if he but I don't think he'd do that to the fans and his family. I don't think he'd do that to us. I don't think he'd do it. Put us through all that heartbreak. But you never know. Sometimes you just never know. And some people even send out their coffin, because when he got buried, when they showed, I couldn't watch it because I just couldn't watch it. I listened to it. I listened to the commentary on the radio because it was on the radio. The commentary. So if you couldn't watch it on TV, you could listen to it on the radio. So I was listening to it on the radio, and when his daughter came up and spoke, and I saw pictures of it afterwards. I saw highlights of it afterwards when his brothers wore the glove in salute and stuff. And some people watched it and said that his coffin was empty. So in actual fact, he actually wasn't in his coffin. Yeah, because his coffin looked very small. As I remember my uncle's talking about it. We talk about it, and my uncle said, you know what, Chris, see that the coffin is so small. And I said, yeah, it's true. After I watched it, when I watched it afterwards, I said, you're right, Uncle, it's true. The coffin is so small. So, and then some other people saying that he wasn't in the coffin. He was not in the coffin. So I don't know. And even though he's also buried in a secret location, so where he's buried, nobody knows. Only the family know, and one or two people who are like bona fide close family friends. Only they know where he's buried. Nobody knows. It's a secret location. You know, and Neverland, the thing with Neverland is that he was looking to sell it before, you know, he passed away, but he never got the chance to. But now he's sold to somebody. He got sold to somebody, and this person's now taking it over. And you know, showing it before, just after he passed away, and it's showing how it's so it needs to be revamped because a lot of the plants are overgrown and it needs to be properly cultivated. I don't know if it's been done now. And that was years ago when he passed away. So, you know, and all the animals I think have been taken out. So it's just such a shame that he had all that and it just like that. You know, how did he pass away? It's a cardiac arrest. I think he was killed. You know, we have people like Dr. Umar Johnson and people like those, you know, especially in the black community, it was sort of like speculating as to how he passed away. And a lot of people have come to the conclusion that he could have been killed, you know, because Dr. Conrad Murray, a lot of people close to Michael Jackson have said that they never heard of this guy before. They never heard of him. And so it's really strange. And even the medication that he was giving Michael, some people were saying that he was close to knew Michael, and people even in the medical profession were saying that the kind of medications that he was giving Michael, you're not really supposed to give people those. You know, you're not supposed. You've got to be in a certain condition before you're going to be in a hospital, officially in a hospital before you actually give people those medications. But he was giving Michael Jackson these medications when he was out of hospital and stuff in his own house or in his own apartment. So there's a lot of talk on foul play. Yeah, there's a lot of talk on foul play and suspicious circumstances as to how and why he was given these medications, and it killed him. You know, suffered a cardiac arrest, and then he was trying to resuscitate Michael by pumping him. There was a pulse, but Michael wouldn't respond to it, and then that was it. Passed away just like that, you know. And I remember it. I couldn't believe it. I read in I think it was in the Mirror, that they were showing some of the drugs that Michael was taking. And I've got the paper here somewhere. And they were saying that he doesn't have long to live. This is about funny enough, it was about a good 6 months before he actually did pass. I remember, because in those days, I used to buy the papers. I don't buy the papers as much now because I got my phone and stuff. But I remember reading something, and in the papers and they showed all these drugs that Michael was supposed to be taking. There was a lot of drugs. He was about 20 or something. And then the report said that these are the drugs that Michael Jackson is taking. I think it was just around the time he came out and he said that he's going to be playing at the O2. Yeah. And he said, this is the final curtain call. When he came up on there, and he showed him, and he had his glasses on. This is the final curtain call, and he said he's going to be doing show. I think he's going to be doing 50 shows. Then the plan was to do it over in the UK, and then probably take it overseas as well, you know. And it didn't quite materialize. And it was just after that I remember picking up a paper, picking up a Mirror, and I saw it in the Mirror. It could have been the Sun as well, because I used to buy two papers, so it could have been. I'm sure it's in both of them. And it said that these are the tablets that world superstar Michael Jackson has taken, and that he doesn't have long to live. And I thought, oh, what are you talking about? I thought, that's interesting. And then two after that, I heard other rumors that he was not well. He was even having problems walking, and he was having problems walking, and he was having problems eating. So I said, oh no. And then some people saying that he won't be able to do shows because he's very weak. And I've got this is it here. I've got the video here, and I do see that when he was performing, when he was rehearsing for the concert, for the final, for This Is It, he looked very lethargic. He looked very slow in his movements. You know, he looked like there was like an issue with him physically. You know, he was okay in terms of he was smiling and bubbly, and he knew he was up with the music. He was telling even some of the musicians and some of the editors of the music and the producers that don't play that, play this, and it don't sound right. That don't sound. I want it to sound like this. And and not too much bass and that. And he was ordering everybody. So he was up with it. He was alert. But physically, it looked like there was some issues with him. I remember even a lady was saying this on the radio that he's like, he can't even perform properly. He's like lethargic, like there's something holding his legs back from moving, And then somebody said that there was a report that somebody who was reversing with him said like he looked fine. Then another person said that he looked like he was very tired, and stuff like that. So there was a lot of things going on, and he went home and then he said that somebody said the day before he died, he looked okay, he was fine. He was bubbly, talking, eating. And then so it's obvious that I personally think this is murder. I'm gonna say it's murder. I think he was murdered. My opinion. Because it's why then at the time, just on the cross review, he's gonna be doing this final curtain call. There's the last dance, if they say, and he gets killed like that. He gets drugged up like that. The albums are great. I don't think I've never known him to write a bad song. As I said to you, and I said to many people over the years, my favorite album of all time is Off the Wall. I've got 2 copies here. Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. I remember hearing that song from when I was a kid. I probably think I heard that song before I heard Billie Jean. As I said, I sort of heard Billie Jean in my granddad's car when he used to take me to school in the mornings. I heard it a few times. I think, and that was when we moved. That was when we was at Vicarage Road when we moved in '82, just after the album had come out. 2 months after the album had come out. But I remember hearing "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" when we was at Barronet Road. It would have been about 80, 81, because the album came out in '79. So about 80, 81, I'm sure I remember hearing "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough." Yeah, don't stop. I remember the melody to it, and I never heard it for a number of years. And then I heard it sometime again in the 80s. I was then saying, that's Michael Jackson. I remember hearing that from a long time ago, but I think that could be the first song of Michael I heard. If it's not that song, then it's definitely Billie Jean. So it's between Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Billie Jean. I heard Thriller a lot and I heard Beat It a lot, and stuff. And so, if I remember correctly, we used to play, the school teachers sometimes played Thriller for us. We had parties at school, because at school we had little parties there, little celebrations there when I would have been in nursery at that time. So you're talking 82, 83. And I remember it clearly that they used to play Thriller and so on for us. And I remember Beat It was another one. And sometimes we go to house parties with our friends from school, and then they'll play these popular songs. So Michael Jackson was the most popular artist at that time, early 80s. So they'll play Michael Jackson, they'll play some Prince, and so on. And some of the more poppy songs, commercial songs, they'll play. And then that's how I got acquainted. But I never knew who he was because I was too young. I never really knew who he was until when I went to my cousins, as I said before. And then they had the album Bad, and I asked them if I could borrow it, and they let me borrow it. And I had it in my house for maybe a month, and they gave it back. And I started going out. My first record I think I bought was Dirty Diana. I bought that record. My first ever record that I bought was 1988, and that was Dirty Diana and the Bad album. As I said, I tried to get Bad, but I couldn't get Bad. Didn't have enough money, so I got some of the singles to Bad. So I went out and I got Dirty Diana, and the other one I got Leave Me Alone. Yeah, that song. Yeah, when he's telling the press to leave, when the press was called him Racco Jacko, so he wrote a song. It was on the Bad album, and it said "Leave Me Alone, Leave Me Alone," and I bought that single as well, and I just couldn't get the album. And I remember buying ABC. Because ABC went back on the charts in about '88, and I remember I went out to a shop in Bruce Grove called All Sorts, but All Sorts closed down about 20 years ago. And I went in there, and you go in there and have a couple of big boxes, and it was only full of nothing but about 7-inch vinyl. That CDs were out, but they weren't as popular. It was either cassettes or vinyl. So I go in there, I looked through the big boxes, and whenever I saw anybody who I liked, so I saw Michael Jackson or the Jacksons or Bob Marley, they had any of those, I'd buy them. And at those time, you could buy one single, 7-inch single for 50p, or sometimes it depends. Some of them will be 50p, some of them will be £1. And whenever I got pocket money for my dad or my granddad, or when my uncle or my family friends gave me some money, probably to buy some sweets, because I always loved records, and that's one of the reasons why I became a DJ. So I went to all sorts, walk it from it wasn't far from where I was living, where I was staying. Walk it, took me about 15 minutes to get there, go in there and look for some records. And I never forget that. That was my first time of buying records, and it's so magical. So magical, you know. And those are just some memories. And Michael Jackson is in there, you know. Quincy Jones started recording Michael, started producing Michael early out in 1978 Off the Wall when they were on the Wiz. Yeah, they were in the Wiz together. Not together, but he was behind the movie The Wiz. And then after he finished The Wiz, he went to record Off the Wall, produced by Quincy Jones. And then the next album, Thriller, was Michael and Quincy Jones again, shifting 50 million units. Off the Wall was shifted about, I think I heard it was something like 26. And for Michael Jackson, for most artists, that is a lot. But even for Michael Jackson, that's not a lot. But at that time, 79, to shift nearly 30 million units, it's quite a lot, you know. And then Bad sold about 30 something. So I think it sold about 35 million units, Bad. At that time, at the height of his peak, his popularity. That's when I first became really properly acquainted with him, because I was about 10 then. And as I said, when Off the Wall came out, I was a baby. When Thriller came out, I was a kid. I didn't know what was going on. I heard some of the songs, but I couldn't relate properly because I was very young. But by the time Bad came out, I was 10, so I kind of knew a bit. And my cousins loved him. They had the album. As I said, I asked to borrow it, and they let me borrow it. And then I remember seeing a picture. As I said, my cousins had pictures everywhere of it. And I remember saying to my cousin, my big cousin Wayne, that, who's that guy? How old is man? He's about 18, isn't he? And my cousin laughed and said, 18? He's about 29. That's when Michael was about 29, 28. Yeah, so yeah, when Bad Year, about 26, he's about 29. 18, no way. Yeah, and my cousin's probably thinking, do you know who Michael Jackson is? Do you know Michael Jackson? Do you know that he's supposed to be? But I didn't know because I was kind of too young. You know, I missed it. You know, I missed these years of Thriller, Off the Wall, the Jackson 5. I missed all of that. You know, we're gonna be doing another video of Michael Jackson. We're gonna do another one, and we're gonna put some pictures with it, what we're saying, and we're gonna try and do it. I don't know how long it's gonna be, because this phone is moving mad. But we're gonna try and do another video somewhere down the line. And this is just an Earth Day celebration. Michael Jackson, 65 today, August the 29th. So we're trying to mark his birthday, by paying a little homage, by talking about, his memories. It means a lot to me because he's he's probably my favorite performer of all time. A multiple winner, Grammy winner. He's won so many awards. You just can't even begin to even say what he's won. So many awards. And his albums have broken down barriers, the shattered numbers. He sold over 1 billion records worldwide. He's known in every single country. Every color, race, class, or creed knows him. Was the most famous. I wouldn't even go as far as say he's the most famous person in the world at one stage. Yeah, the most him and Muhammad Ali. Yeah, because I think him and Muhammad Ali, the two most famous people ever lived along. I would put Bob Marley just behind them as well. But him and Muhammad Ali, I think, even when I was a kid coming up, I said everybody was saying those were the two. Yeah, everybody. You went to any place in the world and you had a picture of Muhammad Ali in this side and a picture of Michael Jackson in this side, and showed it to anybody around the world. They know who they are because they're so, they're such trailblazers and they're so popular that everybody will know who they are, what they represent, and who they represent, what they've done. And albums after Bad. Music on the dance, Blood on the Dance Floor, Dangerous, when he'd sung that song Black or White, and those were I think after the Bad album, he broke ties with Quincy Jones, and they've had a stormy relationship, but Michael's always spoken good about Quincy, but Quincy doesn't want to speak good about Michael. So it's obvious that there's some type of falling out between the two men, some sort of disagreement, It's so good that when people come out and they speak about Michael Jackson being a paedophile and so on, and you've got people like Jermaine Jackson, his brother, who's always got his back, talking, backing him up, and his other brothers saying that we know Michael wouldn't do such a thing, he wouldn't hurt a child. His mother said that. That's why I think his mother told him to get married, because I think his mother was behind him marrying. And when he married Lisa Marie Presley, passed away a few months ago. That was behind that. They said he wanted Michael to get married, so that he can kind of like come away from, because he loved children, because he never really had a childhood. He had to, all those rehearsals, all those tours, singing, making albums, performing at concerts, rehearsing, everything, and it's tiring. And then as a kid, he wasn't even able to have a normal childhood. So when he grew up now, and that's one of the reasons why he bought Neverland, to have children there, for him to kind of recreate what it's like being a child. That's all he bought it for, to enjoy himself. It was like an amusement apartment. You had a pool there, you had that fun fair. It's mostly done for children, but some people say that the ones who are skeptical said that he bought it to entice children so he can molest them and to be a paedophile. But I personally don't think it was nothing like that. I personally think that he bought it to, for kids to come and enjoy themselves, for him to enjoy himself, because he's a child at heart, Michael. They call him, he's like Peter Pan. He said that to Bashir in an interview. He's Peter Pan in his art. But a lot of people are looking at him with skepticism, saying, oh, you bought all this to entice children to come to your house and to come to your apartment and for you to have your way with them. But I personally, because a lot of people now coming out saying that it's a lot of bollocks. Nothing like that happened. Nothing like that took place there. Even some of the cooks there who worked at Neverland, and some of the staff there, the cleaners and so on, said that no, nothing like that happened. He was cool. So a lot of people are doing it because of the Jodie Chandler thing, where he done it to get some money out of Michael. Michael just paid him off because he didn't want any hassle. And a lot of them have used that same tactic to lie about Michael so that they can get a similar payoff. You see, and even since he's passed away, there's been more talks about what he done with some of them, but it's a lot of bollocks. I don't think it's right. I don't think there's any truth in it whatsoever. Anyway, my brothers and sisters, Christian, he loves you so much. We could have done some more, but we're going to leave it there. Billie Jean got to number one. He's had about, how many number ones is Michael Jackson? He's had about, I think he's had about 30 number ones. And he's the first artist to have 4 singles lifted from one album with Bad. He had the same thing with Thriller as well. No, the first artist to have 4 number ones from the same album with Bad. And Thriller was the first artist to have one album where 4 singles are lifted from the album got into the top 10. And that's Thriller. Then he even bettered it with Bad. Off the Wall had 4 singles as well, which all got into the top 50. So Michael Jackson, everywhere you look, he's a trailblazer. His performances, everybody now base their performances on him. So if you perform now, everyone's copying Michael Jackson dances. Everybody's saying, can you dance like Michael? Can you dance like Michael? Can you dance like Michael? It's all that now, you see. And so he's like the benchmark for musicians today in terms of vocalarity, vocals. I call it vocalarity, vocals, performance, and everything like that. Songwriting. He's the one. He's the go-to man. And hopefully we can get to see a proper film about him. I'm sure you'll do that. We'll get to see it, and I want to go to that play where they're gonna have for him next year. I'm hoping to go and see it. And I was never able to see Michael Jackson in the flesh, but I wouldn't mind seeing somebody who can dance even similar to him. That'd be good for me. That'd be good enough for me, to go to actually see somebody dancing similar to Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson bleached his skin. He had vitiligo. So he had skin condition when he was young, and he had little spots, like white spots. And some people saying that, so why didn't he actually use a kind of bleach which would make his skin more dark? But I don't know. That's a good question. They said that but I think he was going on medical advice, and said it's best that he use that because his skin, he's black, but the spots that were coming out in his skin and his face and all over his body was white. So he could have covered it in black, I suppose, or brown, but it was white. So because it was white, it was mostly going white. He's going white naturally. It wasn't that he planned it. So what he did, he just said, okay, then as soon as I'm going white, I'll just finish it off. His hair is because in '84 when he did the victory, I think it's the victory tour with his brothers, and then he got when he's doing, I think he was doing a Pepsi commercial as well, and then he came out on stage, and then the light hit him on his head, and his head it caught a fire, and he was in hospital for I don't think it's third or second degree burns. It was very painful, and he lost a lot of his hair, so they had to redo his hair, they had to fix up his scalp and stuff, and had to give him hair treatment. He went through a hell of a lot, and some say that was the start of his issue of taking a lot of these medications, these drugs. '84. So Michael's been through a hell of a lot, When I do that video of his probably in a couple of months' time, I'm gonna show you the book I've been reading about him. I'm gonna urge you to buy that book and to read that book. I used to give away copies of that book on my radio show many, many years ago when it first came out. It came out about 2010. I gave her a couple of copies on my show, and people love reading that. I love reading that. So when I actually do the video, when I do the video recording, not the live video like I'm doing now. When I do the video recording, I'm going to actually promote that book, because that book is a very good book, and it shows you, if you read that book, it shows you the things Michael went through. It's not a long, it's a medium-sized book, but there's a lot of information in there, especially for people who don't know much about Michael, which is a surprise because we all know him, we all love him. But there's still some people who don't know much about him because he's too vast, or haven't read certain things about him. So I'll urge you to read that book. I'm going to show it to you all. I think it's called Michael Jackson, the King of Pop. It's a red book. He's in the front performing, and he's in black. But anyway, I'll show it to you guys when I'm about to, during the video I'm going to do in a couple of months' time, and I'll upload it on Facebook, on YouTube for you to see it. And thank you so much. That's all for now. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We're at 429 now. I want to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. I really do. So please hit the like. Smash the likes, smash the subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell so you can see when we're going live, and for our latest notifications, hit the bell, and so that you can be notified when we're going live and when we upload a video. So I'll say thank you, Michael. And hopefully, apparently they said you passed away, but you might still be out there because people keep saying that you see you around. So we'll see if you're still around. But you take care, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for your time. If there's anything I've not covered, don't worry, we'll cover it again. We're going to do another set follow-up to this. And we can't cover Michael Jackson in 1 hour because he's vast. And when you think you've covered that, and then you forget that, and then you forget that, you can't cover. Those guys, they're endless, they're timeless. So 1 hour is nothing for Michael. Even if I was there for 1 whole day, we'd only still be scratching the surface. So you take care. Love you all. And be good out there. Take care, brothers and sisters. Bye for now.